What's up, guys? It's Christian with Idaho Dual Sport. Today I'm going to be going through a few pairs of boots that I've been reviewing to kind of give you some feedback on the comparisons of the things that I did like, the things I didn't like, and some of the features that I thought stood out. So stay tuned and check it out. All right, guys, so a little bit of background on me. I started picking up riding again about 2.5 years ago out here in the state of Idaho. Rode real casually as a teenager and a young man, acted stupid, never really learned true skills, just kind of acted like a hooligan. Really started getting back into riding as I moved back out here to Idaho. Really got into a lot of the single track and off-road riding. And in that process, I've been really looking to refine skills, actually build technique, competence, and confidence. And so in that process, obviously there's that search for what gear is going to work for me. Boots oddly seem to be the one thing that's maybe the hardest. I think it makes a lot of sense when you kind of make the contrast of if your gear doesn't make you confident, it's going to be hard to get confident on the bike. Not so much in the terms of protection, but how well can you feel your controls? How well do you perform with that gear on? Again, boots are kind of a minuscule thing in those tasks, but when you think about your foot controls, so much of the bike and the way that you control it, the way that you feel it, the way that you respond comes through your feet. So the one thing that I've noticed is the boots that I've worn, I've yet to find my Cinderella slipper. It's really just been this back and forth between what's comfortable, what's durable, what do I perform best with, but I haven't found any of that overlaps. I found things that are close. So this was what brought me here. I finally decided to get 5 to 6 of the best boots that I've used and that I've heard of and that I've been recommended, and I decided to contrast them. Now there's plenty of information out there from Brian at Atomic Moto, from Chase at Rocky Mountain ATV. There's so much of the technical specs and language and lingo and information that's already out there. This is just the average rider, average dude, I would say average is being generous, to give you some real basic information and contrast for, I would say, a majority of the riders. I ride a DRZ 400 that I dual sport, and I ride a Shootout 250 that I ride on single track and trail ride with. And so the purpose of these boots is not to necessarily serve one purpose, but one that could serve one purpose as a do-it-all boot. I ride currently with this boot right here, the Leatt 5.5. I came from a Tech 7 Enduro, and before that it was the Leatt 4.5. Now the Leatt 4.5 is very similar to this boot. It's less robust. It's a lot more similar to the Tech 7. But on like my third ride, this buckle broke because they're plastic. And this is a 2019 model, I believe. Cool enough, Leatt sent me a brand new pair of boots. Didn't even worry about replacing the buckles. They straight up sent me a new pair of boots. Phenomenal customer service. Love Leatt for that. Ended up using those for a bit, but I was like, eh. So had a lot of recommendations. One of the first boots you always hear about when you ask dudes, whether it's the motocross community, the trail riding community, even ATV guys, is that Tech 7. Man, it's comfortable. It is by far the most comfortable boot out of the box. You put it on, it's like a house slipper. It hugs your foot all the way up your calf, down into your toe box. I mean, you can wear them things all day long. They're crazy comfortable. They do run a little bit hot, but now, especially even with the DryStar technology, I mean, you can have a waterproof boot that's comfortable. It's really, really hard to beat, especially at the price point in comparison to some of these other boots. The one thing I struggled with it was in the toe box. I don't know what it was, but I would go shift with it. I was dragging the rear brake. It was something about, I don't know if it was, I think it's just the fit. Something about it as I couldn't get good bike feel. I thought everything was great up until about the midpoint of my foot, but up here it was like I couldn't feel anything. So sometimes I would lock up my rear brake, I'd drag my rear brake, I'd accidentally shift, I'd be on the wrong spot of the peg, so I'd be up on the balls of my feet, I'd actually be up on my toe, and my foot would slip off the peg. It was stupid stuff that really kind of actually started to jar my confidence a little bit. I really tried to love the boot. I spent about 30 hours in them, and I kept wearing them and wearing them and wearing them, but I was like, man, I got to try something different. I was getting frustrated more so with my performance, which I'm to blame for that, not the boot, but I felt like there was something that could help contribute to that a little bit, so then came in this boot. To me, just what I knew from the 4.5, This boot has great bike feel. There's something about this. I think Chase has mentioned this in his videos. I have better bike feel through the Leatts than I do the Alpinestars. I'm not sure what it is, but it almost feels like they have a flatter profile in the toe box, a little bit less sole right here, but there's something where I have great bike feel, positive rider input through the balls of my feet. The buckles are great, real similar to the Tech 7s and the Alpinestars, but I mean, these are stout. These ones definitely ain't breaking. I've put probably 40 hours on these, and they're great. I love this pivot hinge system on the back. I know they have shims and all this crap that I don't know the technical terms for, but I mean, they're feature rich. They're bomb proof. I mean, these are to me, they're like the SG12 motocross boots, even though SG12 is a motocross boot. But this piece, like, I really like that all these well thought out designs that help to contribute to the rider. The shim plate's beefy. The inside's real comfortable. They actually feel really similar up into the heel as the Tech 7. Not as cushiony, doesn't hug your foot as tight, but still super comfortable. This is a boot I'll be keeping around regardless. If I'm going on a hard ride, generally I will throw these on. If I'm planning to go on some hard single track where I know I'm probably gonna get busted up pretty good, I throw this boot on every time. It's just solid. I do believe this piece right here on the bottom is replaceable. I have been told that, never had to do it, but I also haven't had an issue with 40 hours. They still look new, other than the fact of being crazy dirty. So yeah, replaceable parts all over, great customer service, solid option. I believe these are like $250. Leatt does a great job of discounting their previous years every year. Oh, and one thing I forgot, how could I forget? This piece, dude. Why is nobody else doing this? This slide lock cuff. It's got this Velcro, right? So you just push it on, and as soon as you adjust and lock your top buckle, the Velcro slides and locks in. You don't have that weird bunch up that makes your boot all jagged. Stupid small thing, but what a great feature and overthought thing that nobody else has done yet. So again, love this one. So first up, the first boot I tried, Sidi X-Power. I did a lot of research through Brian at Atomic Moto, watched a lot of his feedback, got a lot of rider feedback. This was one that was highly regarded for like an 80-20, 90-10 dual sport boot. I know ADV guys are even riding this. I really liked this. I think out of the box, I mean, Italian boots are just something else. They're just kind of top notch, next level. I like that they have a smaller profile. You know, when you look at in comparison, they're just smaller. The Sidis especially, if you're wearing an over the boot pant, it's the way to go. Like, these have almost no bulk to them, but they still offer great protection. You still got the rear calf protection all the way down into the heel. The shin plate's robust. Your straps are robust. The toe's crazy robust. They offer that grip on the side, the inside of the foot, just like the Gaernes do. Great little rubber pad up here that gives you great bike feel. The one thing I think I liked more than the Gaerne on that was these have a thicker sole. Now that probably means these will last longer, but Gaernes last like 10 years, so I don't know how long these will last. That means 20 years, great, but they're resolable. So bike feel on these was a little bit more deadened. I think this would be great for an ADV guy because it doesn't matter as much. You're not really up on the heel or up on your balls of your feet. Looking for a lot of that bike feel through your feet, I do. It's got that toe cap protection, great, and a lot of guys take that off because they slip on pavement for guys that ride any pavement. I don't love the calf spot, but a lot of times with pants like these, you're not going to be feeling that. It's got the memory foam around the heel, and the one thing I do think it does have up on the Gaerne, that memory foam on the Sidis comes up a bit higher. Now the Gaernes lock in a little bit more, if that makes any sense. It kind of hugs your ankle and heel better, but the Sidis seem to extend that foam further down into your foot, higher up into the lower part of your leg. Super comfortable. I mean, realistically, none of these boots are bad. Some things I liked more than others, but I think this is a premium boot. I know right now on Slavens, I believe they're offering like the blue pair from last year for like $240, which is an absolute steal, which is why I ordered it. I'm like, man, dude, if I can get a premium boot for $240, sign me up. My only complaint was these. Not a fan of these buckles. These little posts that they have on here, they just feel dainty. Even the spot where it locks into the strap, I don't know. They positively lock in. I don't know that many people complain about them. I know they're a replaceable part, but I don't want to have to replace them, especially at an inconvenient time. Now, I don't think that it's cheap. I just think that these tiny little posts, if this comes off in the middle of a ride for some reason, hits a rock, likely going to shear off. So for me, I had to say that that was one of the only things that I disliked about this boot, aside from that calf collar. Such small things though, like realistically, what you get out of this boot, especially at a price point on sale, it's a solid boot. Now, following that up was the Gaerne Fastback Endurance. This was highly recommended as a dual sport boot. I know Adventure Daily talks about this boot a lot, more so the Enduro version that changed the sole to have a little bit more tread for guys that are riding Enduro that want a little bit more grip and traction on their feet. But these guys ain't lying. I know Brian highly recommends this boot as well. I know what he did when I talked to him. This would be, for my choice, if I were to get an ADV bike right now, if I were to go get a Tenere 700 or something on the lights, 100% would be this boot. It offers a lot of the same protection as the Gaerne SG10 and SG12, which I'm not getting into all the technical specifications. Go listen to the dudes that know what they're talking about. But just knowing, putting this on, feeling the robustness of this boot, it offers plenty of protection and a ton of comfort right out of the box. I mean, you could walk in this thing all day and really not complain at all. It does have that real nice firm finish. It's got that glossy Gaerne signature look. It doesn't have a lot of the detail around the toe box like you see on the SG12, but it's really the same design. It just is different. It's more sleek, shiny, kind of a pretty boot, to be honest. The heel protection is obviously more minimal. You have a lot more ability to move your leg around side to side around, which is nice if you're walking a lot of the time, or you're on a dual sport, we're going to be getting up, walking around for a bit. This would be sweet. I don't think there's really much difference between this and the SG12, other than they say there's slightly less quality components. I don't see it, other than this piece here, which is leather, and that was probably my biggest complaint about it. Getting on a bike instantly, that was the first thing I felt. I put an Endurance on, or a Fastback on one foot and an SG12 on the other foot, squeezed the bike, hunched over, this boot instantly slipped back. Not a bad thing. Again, I think that's where it lands in that perfect spot for ADV or dual sport guys. If you're not doing any hard technical riding where you're really needing to squeeze the bike, it's perfect. I mean, that's everything else is great. It's got this nice little up here. I know it's different than SG12, but it's got like almost like a neoprene wrapped in leather. It's super, super soft. I really like the materials that Gaerne uses where it matters. It's the small details. Again, one of the strengths of Gaerne is the buckle system. These just are a great system that I don't think I've ever heard of a Gaerne buckle system failing. And if they do, guess what, they replace. But to me, this is a simple solution. There's nothing technical to it. It's just a great, well thought out boot that I think is really could serve purpose for anybody. And I think for the price point, I can't remember if they're about $350, might be upwards of $400. This would probably be a top 3 boot of all the boots I've tried on. I think it's perfect. And I think if I were to keep 2 boots, out of all these ones I'm reviewing, this would be one of them, solely because I could wear this dual sporting, where I'm going to be doing long days on the bike and doing a lot of hiking and walking around, and this would be perfect for it. Next up, the pinnacle, the SG12. This is kind of the standard. This boot has been kind of top of its class for a very long time. Whether you ask a motocross guy, dudes that are competing in hard enduro, guys that are casually riding single track, even dudes I've talked to lately that are adventuring on the BDRs and whatnot, this is what they are wearing. And it's not hard to tell why. As soon as you put it on, the comfort's immaculate. The materials are just top notch. I love the buckles. I really do. I love the placement. I love all the components. One of the details I love the most is that they add this grip on the inside of the boot here, all the way up into the side. I mean, when I talk about overemphasizing the need for bike feel, this is the boot for it. I love the small, narrow toe profile, and I really think that that's what stood out to me is when I got on the bike, this was the one where I was like, dude, this is it. It felt like I was on a bicycle, like you was the rider input I could get through my feet, all the little things that you kind of realize you don't have in the other boots was remedied with this. I love the feel of this kind of like, I can't remember what this is called, but it's almost like a wetsuit inside. It's got that water or moisture wicking membrane, whatever it's called, inside the boot, and right into that memory foam when it slides down into that footbed. And the best thing you can do with these is get an aftermarket insole, just whether it be an orthotic or a gel insert, something like that. It takes that cheap, flimsy 16th inch piece of foam out of the bottom and put something in to support your foot, and just makes it absolutely comfortable. I mean, these are renowned for lasting 8 to 10 years. I believe it. I mean, it's really not hard to tell. The crazy thing about this boot is that I initially tried it on when I got my Tech 7, but because of all the recommendations to size down, I ordered a size 9. The problem is for some reason that doesn't apply to me. I ordered a size 10. I wear a size 10 in the Tech 7, in the Leatt, in the Fastback, in the Sidi, and in every boot that I have here right now is a size 10, and it is perfect. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know if they've changed something, but I wear a size 10 tennis shoe, and I wear a size 10 SG12. I didn't size down. I don't know why I would, but that was the mistake the first time I tried it, and I hated it. I thought it was horrible. I was like, this is never going to be it. And that's how I knew. I sent it back for a $500 boot out of the box. It was horrible. It crammed my toes. I liked the ankle, but if my ankle was comfortable and the front of my foot hurt, what was the point? So the soles are good. Again, resolable. You can get the Enduro soles on these. I think these are great. These are fine. This is probably the best do-it-all bomb-proof boot for me. Riding a lot of 80-20, 90-10 when I dual sport, even if I get an adventure bike, this would be a peace of mind. If I was doing the BDR, I probably wouldn't go to anything less than this. You just have so much protection throughout the ankle, the heel. Even if you went down on the pavement, I mean, your feet are going to be good. Your top of your body might be maimed, but your feet are going to be good. Love this boot. Really think it is going to continue to be the standard for a long time, which appropriately brings me to their newest edition, this beauty, the SG22. I had a lot of hope in this boot. I was kind of confused on what they could have improved after seeing the SG12, because I was like, man, but just at the looks of it, I'm like, this to me is an outdated look. I mean, it's a cool old Italian boot, but it's got a lot of old features as far as looks that I don't think are great. I think it's a beautiful boot. I think the materials make it beautiful, but the design is definitely outdated. Now, when you look at this thing, it kind of makes it look more comparable to something like this. I mean, this is a motocross boot through and through, but this guy, I mean, they took all the features and then they just highly updated it. The buckles somehow are improved. These things are phenomenal. I think you could put these next to a pile of C4. They're probably going to be the only thing that survives the boot. They're ridiculous. I also like how they added this this piece here. It seems to be detached, or I don't know if it allows for a little bit more flex, but ironically, this is what I noticed the first time I tried these on side by side with the SG12. It's something about, there's that instant break-in. Like, this is almost like the Tech 7 where you take it out of the box and it's instantly comfortable. I don't think there's any break-in for this boot. You could walk in this boot all day straight out of the box and be fine. The toe box is slightly different in this, in the sense that I don't know that anybody that's sized down on the SG12 before will need to do that with this. I don't know what it is. It does feel a little bit more roomy in the toe box. They said it's a little bit more square fit. I think that's what changed. It allows for a little bit more room in the boot, but it's not like, I'm not getting that floaty feeling like I was on the Tech 7. Again, I think this boot could suit all riders. I think whether you're doing an adventure ride on a BDR route for 8 days, I think whether you're competing in motocross, whether you are doing hare scrambles or racing GNCC or riding single track casually on the weekends, I don't think there's anything this boot couldn't do. I think all of these boots could do that. But this one provides a comfort right out of the box that not many others do besides the Tech 7. So when you combine that with the SG12 durability, it's really hard to beat. So again, I think these are all great options. I hope some of this was helpful for you. I know this is a very dumbed down conversation. I'm not the smartest dude in the world. I don't have the most experience. I just wanted to share my feedback on what I recognize of these boots. So if you have any questions or feedback, I would appreciate you leaving a comment and dropping it, or just send me a message. So appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Appreciate you guys checking out this review. Also on Instagram at Idaho Dual Sport. Check me out there. I like to document my little stupid adventures and some of my crashes and the goon stuff that I do on my bike. So appreciate everybody joining me today, and I hope we'll catch you on the next one.